Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Mike Chua, physical therapist, certified dementia practitioner, and your alternative career coach. Welcome to our career healthcare podcast and show, where we talk about different ways to find your alternative career and achieve both work and financial freedom. So visit our website, drmikechua.com or alternativehealthcarecareers.com for more information. Again, thank you for watching and listening. Welcome to our show. Be awesome, be great, be excellent, ACG. Have a great day and enjoy the show. Bye-bye. In there again, thank you very much. We are live in our Facebook group. If you are live, please comment live in our alternative careers group. If you are watching on the replay, please comment replay. And tonight, or whatever you call it, I guess it's tonight, right? It's already 6 o'clock. I'm sorry, we're running late. 6:04 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7:04 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you can hear me well, please comment you can hear me. If that would be awesome. But tonight we have a special guest again, Dr. Emmanuel Canlas. He is going to talk about how to apply for a paycheck protection program for self-employed and independent contractor therapists. So again, thank you very much, Emmanuel. Really, really appreciate you for coming over. You are such a very big help in our group here. Last time you did that unemployment benefit webinar. Everybody there's a lot of questions up until now. So
really?
Without further ado, please reintroduce yourself, Eman. Please tell us where you are, what do you do now, and go ahead and take it over, brother.
Oh, okay. Hi. All right. So my name is Emmanuel. I'm a physical therapist, just probably most of the participants here and everything. So, pretty much I've been a therapist for like 20 years, and pretty much I'm here to help you out, especially if you have, these questions regarding the PPP or the Paycheck Protection Program. All right. So we're going to start.
Well, do you want to take over the screen, or do you want me to?
Can I do that?
Yeah, let me stop the share.
Sure.
We'll stop the share. There you go. And then I'm going to click.
Then can you enable my share screen?
Yeah, and I'm going to make you as the host. So you get all the, bam, there you go. All right.
All right, just a minute. Okay, I'm going to set up the thingy here.
Well, how's everything there? You're in New York, right?
Yeah.
How's everything there?
It's still we're still on quarantine, so.
Oh wow.
What can I say? You can see how I'm doing it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I can see your credit card info.
Oh, really?
Your bank account. So.
All right. Okay.
There you go.
All right, so we're going to start?
Go ahead.
All right. Okay, so this webinar is pretty much how to apply for a paycheck protection program, specifically for employed, or rather self-employed and independent contractor therapists. All right. So what is the Paycheck Protection Program? So this is basically given by the Small Business Administration, the SBA, pretty much to help businesses keep their workforce employed during, of course, the coronavirus. This is pretty much funded by the federal government. The initial funding was $349 billion. As probably all of you know, this ran out in 2 weeks. Secondary funding came in like a few weeks later, and this stands at an additional 310 billion. Now, the good thing about this is with all the rush in getting the initial funding, a lot of people, especially like these so-called small companies that are actually big, actually got millions of dollars in PPPs. So what happened was, in the end, they kind of like returned it because, pretty much they can get other funding sources. And it pretty much, it wasn't the intent of the PPP to pretty much help these big companies. So now the secondary funding, and we are, what is it, the 28th of May or 27th of May, there's still some funding left. And this is like over $100 billion actually. So this is a good time. If you are thinking of getting the PPP, this is a good time for you to actually think about it and apply. Now, the program and the duration, what the PPP does is this is a loan that will cover 2.5 times your monthly payroll costs. So that's very important, 2.5 months, okay? And then the coverage is 8 weeks of payroll and business expenses. Usually it starts when, the loan is pretty much approved. Okay, now the duration is from February 15. It starts from February 15, 2020 to June 30, 2020. So the deadline is the 30th. If you don't get it, then pretty much the program ceases. Now, who is eligible for PPP? So just to give you a rundown. So these are generally, again, small businesses with 500 or fewer employees, any small businesses that meet the SBA size standards. So on other industries, on other industries like the restaurants or the hotels, the reason some of them got PPPs because of this, they follow either the industry size standard or the alternative size standard. Now, just to make it simple, in our case, we don't follow this because we're basically self-employed or independent contractors. Or if you have a clinic, it's like basically small, like 5 employees or something. So this really doesn't apply. Also, if you're a nonprofit organization, veterans organizations, or a tribal business concern, you are eligible. And any businesses that has to do with the restaurants and all that stuff, employing less than 500, but let's say like all these chains, like Olive Garden or McDonald's, they're a corporation, but they're actually run as a franchise individually, and this pretty much applies. And of course, lastly, the sole proprietors, independent contractors, and self-employed, people or persons. Okay.
What does the NAICS means?
Going back?
Yeah.
Oh, the NCAIS, that's the code pretty much, to describe yourself as a business. So I just underlined there, I forgot about that, the NCAIS code. So because they're going to be asking you, once you apply for the PPP, they will be asking the NCAIS code for therapists, and the code is 621340. So just for you to know, because you'll be encountering this as you apply.
I thought it was your credit card number, so
that's I think a bit too short, right?
Or your social security.
All right. So now, the details of the PPP loan, all right? So again, as I mentioned, it's a loan of up to 2.5 times your monthly payroll. And this covers 8 weeks of your payroll and business expense, as I've mentioned. Now, the rule is 75% of this must be used for payroll, and 25% must be used for business expenses such as utilities, mortgage interest, as well as rent. Now, if you have employees, like you're a small company, the health insurance, the retirement account contributions are usually considered payroll expenses. But if you are self-employed or an independent contractor, it does not apply to you. So basically, payroll for you is just the salary that you're taking. All right? So now, there's what we call the safe harbor rule. So previously I mentioned, a lot of these big companies have been returning the PPP, it's because of this. All right. So just to make sure, and just to ensure all of you who are trying to apply for it, this actually technically won't apply to you, because most likely the loans that are going to be approved for you is under $2 million, right? So what they determined is any loans that are under $2 million, you pretty much, in SBA's eyes, you have made it in good faith and satisfy the requirements of the safe harbor rule. So if by any chance you have over $2 million in loans, then basically, just to summarize, the SBA will be auditing your application and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So what they did, so all these companies returned the funds before May 18th, so they will be in compliance with that, because unfortunately some of them got the PPPs, and in the spirit of the PPP was a violation when pretty much they received those. So they weren't supposed to get them in the first place. Mm-hmm. So now, a component, it's not really a component, but a part of the PPP is what we call the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, or the EIDL. This is another loan from the SBA, but if you were one of those people who applied, after April, when they announced it on April. So for the early applicants, basically, they were given, if you look at it, it says a $10,000 loan. So everyone was applying, and then they were thinking like, hey, I'm going to get $10,000. But what happened was, because so many people were applying, the SBA decided that they are only going to give $1,000 per employee with a maximum of $10,000. So let's say, for example, if you're self-employed or a sole proprietor, when you applied for the SBA gives you that confirmation number. They will give you the $1,000. Usually they direct deposit into your account. And if you look at the stamp on your account, it's EIDG instead of EIDL. So if you for those who got the early EIDL. So
I think that's what I got.
Yeah. So look at your account. There should be a timestamp, including the SBA. Just don't share it, okay? And the SBA confirmation number, it's there. It will put. It's actually placed as EIDG, not EIDL. What does that mean? It means this is a loan initially, but once the SBA dispersed the funds to your account, it is a grant. So what does it mean? It's free money. You don't have to report it to your tax, because it's a grant, okay? So for those people who were able to get it, you were really lucky, because you're able to get it. Now, for future applicants, there is still the EIDL component, but this would be added to the PPP loan. Remember, as I mentioned before, 2.5 times the monthly income. So the $1,000 would be added to the PPP loan, but it will not be considered as a grant, but as part of the loan. So there's a big difference there. So now, instead of, let's say, for example, you have a PPP loan of $10,000, and then you got the grant of $1,000. So total is $11,000. You only have a loan of $10,000. But in this case, for applicants today, the loan of $10,000 plus $1,000, that's going to be $11,000. So that's a big difference.
Let me just interrupt you there, Evan. What I'm seeing in my is SBAD, TRE, SBAD, then space TREAS 310.
Yep, that's the Treasury.
Okay, so that was the.
Oh, it ends there. It doesn't put the EID, because usually so it didn't specify there. But usually if you make a copy of it, or if you request something from the SBA, once after that, the U.S. Treasury, after that, it should put their EIDG and then your SBA confirmation number. So what is your bank?
Regions Bank.
Oh, okay. So I don't know how they treat direct deposits or whatever. So I'm Chase, it's very specific. They everything there, and
Okay.
Pretty much go from there.
That's my free money then, huh?
So that's free money. You don't have to declare that in your income. Although probably in a later part of this year, the SBA, well, probably through your accountant and everything, you will probably be most likely be filling out a form that you pretty much receive these funds, these grants. But again, you just have to report it, but it's not taxable because again, it's a grant.
I gotta change that then. So
okay. But again, for new applicants today and then tomorrow, whatever, unfortunately, the EIDL would be a loan and not a grant. So it's just added to your PPP loan. All right. Okay. So let's continue. Okay. So how do you compute for the maximum PPP loan amount? Okay. So again, this is for self-employed, sole proprietors, independent contractors, and everything. So the first thing that you're going to look for in your tax return is if you have a Schedule C. So if you do not have a Schedule C, then more than likely you cannot, qualify for the PPP. Well, that's pretty much yes and no. But in general, you won't be qualified for the PPP loan. So your net, pretty much you find the net business income. This is at line 31 of your Schedule C. That is your net business income. That is the basis of the PPP loans. Because a lot of people initially, they were computing, when they were applying, they were computing for the gross income, the gross income. And it's incorrect. So you should have pretty much computed for the net business income, minus all the deductions and all that stuff. So how do you compute it? So determine the business income at line 31. You divide it by 12 and then multiply it by 2.5. 12 is 12 months, then multiply by 2.5 because it's 2.5 times. And then that's the PPP loan. You then add $1,000 for the EIDLs, and that will be your total PPP loan. All right, you got me so far? Okay, moving on. What are the terms of the PPP loan? Okay, so if, as a business, everyone most probably is struggling. I mean, for some people who aren't, you guys are lucky, but for most businesses, they are struggling. The loan terms are absolutely crazy. Crazy in a sense that even if it's a loan, it's literally free money. Why? The interest is 1% every year. So let's say, for example, you got $10,000 loan. You're basically paying $100 of interest every year. I mean, that's ridiculous, So, and then the term, of course, the term is a little bit less. It's only for 2 years, but hey, within the term of these 2 years, you'll only be paying $200 of interest for a $10,000 loan. I mean, who could get that? Probably you'll get it in a credit card, but the credit card will only give you like 12 months or 18 months of a term. And, again, it's literally free money. Now, when they disperse this loan, you would also have a 6-month payment deferral. So let's say, for example, the loan starts at May 27th, then you count 6 months, May, June, July, August, September, October, November 26th. That is the time that you will pretty much pay for this. So basically they're giving you a 6-month deferral, pretty much to make good use of that money. But of course, since this is on a payment deferral, the interest will be accrued. But again, it's $100 a year. So that's nothing, basically. And as I mentioned, the loan starts from the date when the bank or lender of the SBA disburses the funds to your checking account. So what does this mean? So when you apply, you use a middleman, which is in this case a lender, like a fintech. Like fintech, meaning these are like banks with no physical branches. They're just online, like Square or PayPal. They have a bank, believe it or not. So those are the things. Basically, once the SBA gets your application through your banks, what happens is they apply, and then once you get approved, the SBA gives the money to the bank, that you chose. The moment that is transferred to your account, that is the starting date. of your loan. It is very important that you know the starting date of that loan, because remember, the coverage period is 8 weeks. So you have basically 8 weeks to spend that loan for you to be able to be in compliance with the loan, number one. And number two, the most important, for you to be eligible for loan forgiveness. So we'll talk about this a little bit later on. All right, so PPP loan forgiveness. So a portion of your loan is forgiven. It's converted as a grant, just like the EIDG for the people who applied earlier. And again, there are no tax implications. So this is basically, again, free money for you. All right, so now if you take a look closely, I said a portion of the loan, because number one, you won't be able to get the entire loan forgiven 100% because there is the ratio. So what are these ratios? The ratio is 75% is payroll and 25% is business expenses. Now, business expenses, usually these are, again, the rent, if you have a office or clinic, the utilities, as well as if you own that place, and if you pay mortgage for it, then the mortgage interest is also eligible as a business expense. Now, for self-employed and sole proprietors, business expenses are mostly, like advertising or whatever, but not really on this sense. Probably the utilities, like if you use a cell phone, or I don't know, you have you pay internet, for your services or whatever. Like let's say you have a streaming company or whatever, or you do telehealth, but then you can make even if you don't have the official business location, you can use that as a business expense. But again, it's only 25%. So it covers, again, 8 weeks of payments. So remember, the starting dates, you count 8 weeks. That is the only time that you must be able to use this. Otherwise, again, you won't be able to have that loan forgiven. I mean, yes, of course, you're not going to pay anything, as far as the forgiveness. But even if you don't, on the lighter side, on the good side of it, even if you don't have it forgiven, I mean, that's a 1% loan. So, at this point in time, if you have sufficient capital or you have access to capital, that is the most important thing for you to kind of like, swim against the tide of this, of the COVID pandemic and everything, right?
That's true.
Yeah, so whatever you could get. Okay, so I also have to reiterate, there is an employee compensation cap, all right? So let's say you're a sole proprietor or a self-employed individual. The salary that is covered by the PPP loan is capped, or there is a limit of $100,000. So let's say, for example, your net business income is $125,000, then you won't be eligible for that extra $25,000. They capped it at $100,000. Let's say you have a company with 5 employees, and then your employees, one is earning $110,000, the other one's earning $50,000 or $70,000. Again, all of these are capped at $100,000. Now, for you to make the computation, so in this situation, in this scenario, if you are a sole proprietor or a self-employed, the actual maximum PPP loan that you can get would be $21,833.33, which is the $20,800 is the PPP part, and the $1,000 is the EIDL part. All right. So now comes a little bit, this is going to be a little bit confusing, but again, if you follow me through with remember the 75%, 25%, this will make sense. Now, assuming you got that $21,833 in PPP loans, the maximum PPP loan forgiveness would be $15,384.61 to cover your 8 weeks of payroll. Okay, that's easy to prove because you're just paying yourself if you're self-employed. And then $5,208 for business expenses. All right. So if you, again, if you're self-employed, you do not have that much of a business expense, then most likely the only amount that can be forgiven with your PPP loan would be $15,384. Okay. So in this scenario, let's say you're able to do all of these expenses and the payroll, then the maximum amount of loan forgiveness would be $20,592, leaving your loan balance with $1,240 and 30. So what does it mean? It means that $20,500, this will all be forgiven, assuming you follow the 75%, 25% rule. And then you still have a loan balance, but hey, it's better than having a loan of 21,000, right? 21,000 or 21,800, and then you end up with $1,000, $1,200 of a loan, and then the entire 20,000 is forgiven. I mean, I've been here to say I've never had that kind of deal, So that's pretty much the best deal around. Okay, now you're thinking, okay, what do I need for me to apply for a loan? Okay, so for independent contractors and self-employed therapists, yours is a little bit simpler, okay? So all you need is your license or a US passport, because you have to be a US citizen or a permanent resident to pretty much apply for the PPP loan. You need your 2019 income tax return, or more specifically, the Schedule C, as well as your 2019 1099 forms. And then within that 2019, if you have those payment stubs, let's say, for example, you work in a nursing home and you're a contractor there, they usually give you the checks with the pay stub. You have to produce those from the periods February to June of 2019, because that is their basis for your income. Of course, you have your Schedule C, but they want to make sure that you actually earn that money within that period of time. Because again, the reason February to June, because that is the coverage period of the PPP loan. From February 15 to June 30 of 2020, not 2019, but they're basing this from the prior year. Also, if you have an employer identification number, usually when you apply for that, the IRS gives you a letter, or they give it, like when you apply online, they usually have it on screens, and then you print that screen. You have to show that to the SBA or to your lender. Again, if it's applicable, because some self-employed or some independent contractors, they use their social security numbers. So again, if you don't have the EIN, don't worry, don't panic. Your regular social security number is fine. Now, for small businesses with employees, it gets a little bit complicated, because number one, you have to show your business license, your registration. You have to show your quarterly tax filings for 2019 and 2020 of Q1, as well as your annual tax filings for 2019. You also have to produce your payroll register for the previous 12 months. So any employee, let's say you have 5 employees, those have to be included there, because they're going to be computing for each and every employee that you have. Also, your bank statements for the prior 12 months being the most recent. So let's say, for example, you applied May, then you would be required to submit 12 months starting from May or April, and then going 12 months from there. And if you are going to be using the PPP to pay for health insurance for employees, state taxes, well, not really state taxes, because the PPP and the CARES Act, there is a payroll tax deferral. So you really don't need the state taxes, but probably for the health insurance premiums or the retirement benefits, if you're paying retirement benefits for your employees, then they need proof that you did that in 2019. All right. So everyone, so far so good? All right.
So far so good.
Now, this is the most important thing. Once you get that PPP loan, all right, I highly recommend that you open a separate business checking account. The reason for that is, it's not really like, remember the safe harbor? if you have less than $2 million of a loan, the SBA won't waste their time auditing you. Okay. The other thing, the only thing that makes it more complicated is if you apply for loan forgiveness. That's another story. If you apply for loan forgiveness, the SBA will track whatever you did with that money. Okay. The burden is given to the bank that pretty much gave you that loan. So you would have to show proof that, oh, this was given to you as a salary, or this was given to as a business expense. And if you put the PPP loan to your regular checking account or regular business account, for you to track all of the money coming back and forth, because that money is already combined with your regular checking account, it makes it a little bit more tough for you to say, oh, this disbursement was here or there or whatever, So I highly suggest you open a separate business checking account solely for that PPP. So when you present your evidence, to apply for loan forgiveness, you're just going to present one bank statement. And this is like, oh, this went to my salary, this went. So it makes things a little bit more easier, right?
True. That's a very good tip there.
Yeah.
Before you keep going.
So now the cover period is for 8 weeks from the date of disbursement, as I've mentioned before. Now, if you were getting your income, let's say you were being paid by your contracted employer or nursing home, whatever place of business. Let's say you get your check every week or bi-weekly or every 15 days, whatever that is. You follow that rule that happened to you in 2019. So let's say you have the money there. You only withdraw the weekly income that you were supposed to be getting. So that makes it a lot easy for the bank to tell, like, oh, you are paying yourself, as a self-employed, because you're drawing money away. The reason is, if you withdraw the entire funds, like let's say you have $10,000, you withdraw the entire $10,000, I am telling you right now, you will not be eligible for forgiveness. Because remember, the period is from February to June 30. Let's say you got the loan on May, right? What happens is, if you withdraw, what the SBA will figure as far as why you withdrew that is for you to cover your payroll from the past 8 weeks, okay? Which is okay, that's okay. But the problem is, it's very specific that in order for you to pretty much apply for loan forgiveness, okay, it has to be from the 8 weeks when you got the loan, okay? So very big difference, all right? There's no problem for you to withdraw that money. The only problem is, because again, it's still in compliance because you are covering your salary for the past 8 weeks. But the problem is, for you to apply for loan forgiveness, there's a big chance that it will not be forgiven because you did not use it within that 8 weeks, from the date of disbursement. So you have to follow the by the letter as far as the guidelines is concerned, so you don't have any problems and everything. Another thing is, of course, the expenses. How do you prove that $10,000 that you withdrew went to expenses or went to payroll? Because you withdrew everything at once. So it would be very much harder for you to kind of like prove that you made all these withdrawals. Unlike if you were to do it like on a bi-weekly basis, and then let's say your phone bill is due for, let's say, 2 days from now, and then you withdrew from that to pay for the T-Mobile or AT&T, then that's very clear that you're actually using all of these things, as you are pretty much working, within the next 8 weeks. All right. So let me show you an example. Let's say if you wanted to apply for a PPP loan. Okay, let me just getting some coffee. I'm getting a little bit sleepy here.
Well, I'm reading some of the one.
Yeah, I know, right? Okay, so let's see. You have a Schedule C, line 31, net income of $55,000. Okay,
before you go, Eman.
Sure.
There's a question here from Yolanda, real quick. Can you use 2018 taxes if 19 isn't done yet?
Unfortunately, they will only base it on a 2019 tax return. Now, you mentioned to me that the 2019 is not done. Okay, I have a question for her. Is it not done, like entirely done? Or do you have a draft? Meaning, let's say you haven't you have the draft, if you have the draft 2019, but you haven't submitted it yet. A lot of people do this, especially if you want to extend. This is like filing an extension, the file, what is this, the 8658, that's the form. Basically, the reason why you do that is, let's say, for example, if you owe taxes, you have to pay taxes from 2019, or let's say you do your 401k contributions and you haven't completed that 401k contributions for 2019, then you usually do that. So if you have a draft, you could submit that draft, even if the IRS hasn't received that, because they will use that as a basis for your Schedule C. But if you have not done anything as of now, which is still okay because you have until June 15 to finish everything up. That's the good thing about, not June 15, July 15, I'm sorry. Because of the coronavirus, they extended it from April to July. So if you don't have anything, then unfortunately they can't. The SBA can't compute your PPP loan because they need that Schedule C. So probably she'll be asking me, what if I just have the pay stubs or whatever, or the 1099s? Yes, by all means you have it. But it has to be, the basis always has to be the Schedule C, because the SBA doesn't know what your expenses are. They don't know what deductions you pretty much use from that gross income of 2019. So it's very important that you have that Schedule C on your thing. Otherwise, they can't.
Perfect. Thank you. I hope that answers your question, Yolanda. I know Yolanda, so thank you, Yolanda.
No problem.
Before you keep going, there's another great question here. I know you want the questions at the end.
Go ahead.
But this one here is from Miranda. She said, I have a unique situation in that I was a full-time salaried until March 2020, but then resigned to take another job as an independent contractor.
And when did this happen?
One day before COVID happened. Can I apply with my W-2 from 2019?
No. Unfortunately, you can't, because from prior to this, March 2020 and going back to 2019, you were on a W-2. So technically, you don't earn business income. Okay. So you cannot apply for the PPP loan. The only way for you to apply is, let's say, for example, there's a condition. Let's say the entire 2019, you don't have business income, but starting January 1st of 2020, you started a business, okay? From January 1 to February 15 of 2020, if you have that business income, that's the only time the SBA will take your pay stubs, because you don't have any Schedule Cs for 2020 yet. You haven't filed it. So that is the only time the SBA will consider that, is if you started a business prior to February 15 of 2020. So the coverage is from January 1st to February 15, 2020. Whatever your gross, believe it or not, your gross income for that period, they will take it, because that is considered like an alternative, income period. That's what.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, the surest way for you to do it is if you have a Schedule C, because the banks, they will be asking for more information. If you can't produce it, they will unfortunately deny your loan. All right. Okay. So again, going to the sample PPP loan, your net income is $55,000. So how do you compute it? Okay. So 55,000 divided by 12, that's 4,583. Then you multiply that by 2.5, that's 11,458.33, plus your EIDL of $1,000, then your total loan would be 12,458.33. Okay? Makes sense, right? Another example. Your Schedule C, line 31 net income is 125,000. So you do pretty much the same thing. 125,000 divided by 12, that's 10,416. You multiply this by 2.5, it becomes 26,041, and the EIDL of $1,000. So the total would be 27,041.66. Will this be the PPP loan that you'll be getting? I wish, right? But unfortunately, you can't, because remember, the limit is $100,000 as far as every individual employee. So your actual loan total would only be $21,833.33 because it does not cover the extra $25,000 of your income. All right, sounds good so far? All right, moving on. Now, let's say you got the loan, right? So I'm going to give you a sample of loan forgiveness. So let's say, for example, again, same thing. Your net income is $55,000. Your total loan amount is $12,458.33. Out of that $12,458.33, the forgivable payroll expense that you put in there, so would only be at $8,461.53. So how did I do that? So you divide the 55,000 divided by 52. This is 1,057.69. And then that is your weekly income out of that 55,000. You know, remember, for a year, we have 52 weeks, right? So now the covered period of the PPP loan is 8 weeks. So 1,057.69 multiplied by 8, then 8,461.53 is the maximum forgivable payroll amount out of that $12,000. All right. Now, if you have business expenses, the maximum business expense that you can deduct, rather you can have forgiven, rather, would be $2,864.58. How did I determine this? Pretty much, again, the rule 75-25. 25% of $12,458.33 would give you 2,864. So the maximum total that you can get forgiven, or you can have forgiven rather, is 11,576.11. All right. But based on how I see it, as far as being a self-employed or independent contractor, more than likely, again, how much is a cell phone bill or an internet bill? Like, remember, it's only for 8 weeks, so that's 2 months. So let's say a cell phone bill is like $100, and then the internet is like, give it another $100. So that's a total of $400 for a period of 8 weeks or 2 months. So it's really, you really can't maximize the 25% rule for business expenses. So more than likely, you will probably have, you know, like 75 to 80% of that total loan forgiven based on being a self-employed or an independent contractor. All right, so another example, again, this time if you have a net income of $125,000, your total loan amount is $21,000. The forgivable payroll here would be $15,384. Again, 100,000 divided by 52, not 125,000 divided by 52, which is 1923. You multiply that by 8, then the forgivable payroll would be 15,384. Again, for expenses, the same thing. You multiply 20,833 times 0.25 is 5,208. Now, if you notice, the total loan amount is 21,000, and the forgivable business expense, I only put 20,000 because I did not include the EIDL here. Okay, so why did I put this together? Like if you notice on the other one, the 55,000, I included the EIDL, right? So the reason is because even up to now, like because the SBA put the EIDL together with the PPP, which shouldn't be in the first place. I don't know why they're doing it, but there is no ruling as far as how to compute the 25%. Do you include the EIDL or you do not include the EIDL? So that is the gray area here. But again, as a self-employed or independent contractor therapist, it doesn't really matter for you guys or for us, you know, as a business expense, because again, there is just so much business expense that we can get here because it's limited to rent, mortgage interest, and utilities. Okay? All right. Now, there is a pending congressional change to these. You know, in the Senate, there's the PPP Extension Act. And then in the the House, it's the PPP Flexibility Act. Okay, this is how it gets a little bit better, you know. So that's the reason for which is it extends the duration of the eligibility up to December 31. So right now, people are actually returning their PPP loans because time is running out, basically. So if you got the PPP loan on April 5, April, May, June, you have June 5 to use those funds. If you don't use those funds as intended, meaning, again, payroll or business expense, you have to return the money. Otherwise, you will not be in compliance and you could get in trouble, you know, because the SBA is going to audit you. If they extend it to December 31, then you have more flexibility to use it, you know. So let's say, again, for payroll, you know, you can pretty much extend the entire thing, you know. So instead of being limited to that eight weeks, let's say, for example, let's say your company, they're not giving you any jobs, or they're probably giving you limited hours and everything, then you can use that to replenish. Let's say, for example, prior to COVID, your weekly hours were like, let's say 40 hours a week. You're making, I don't know, like $2,000 a week. Then you return to work. Okay. This is for your self-employed income, right? You're independent contractor. They're only giving you 10 hours a week. So you're still making money, right? But you were not making the $2,000 a week prior. So you could use that PPP to supplement your whatever you're earning now. That is still within compliance of the PPP loan. The problem is, for now, it's only 8 weeks. So what if, for example, you're still not working? I mean, you could use that, but by the time this is all over, let's say in 8 weeks, and let's say, God forbid, after 8 weeks, you know, you still can't find work or whatever. So what happens next, right? So again, the important thing is you preserve whatever cash you have, you know, and it's good if let's say you go back to work, but the work is not like, let's say you have decreased hours, you can use that PPP to supplement your income, you know, and again, have it forgiven. So that's the best thing ever, you know, right? It also extends the coverage week from 8 weeks to either 16 weeks. 16 weeks is on the Senate bill. 24 weeks is on the House bill. Again, up to December 31, but whichever is lesser from the start of loan. Meaning, let's say, for example, you apply December 1st for the PPP loan, then you only have 4 weeks, literally, to finish or you know, fund, you know, withdraw all the funds, you know, from your payroll and everything, because it's only up to December 31. Unlike the present situation where where you have to apply before June 30th, and then let's say you got approved on June 30, you have only 8 weeks to use that from June 30th. All right. Now they're also trying to change it for a payment ratio of 60% payroll and 40% business expenses. This is actually bad for self-employed or independent contractors, because what happens is you actually decrease the amount of forgivable loans, because again, most of those forgivable loans would be under payroll. So if they do this, it will actually lessen the amount of the loan that can be forgiven. So, and then there's another is to eliminate the entire percentage ratios altogether. So if you pay 100% of your payroll, this is actually good for us, because now you could have the entire loan forgiven because you actually paid yourself the entire amount. All right. And then lastly, this is ridiculous, you know, extend the term to 5 years, which is even crazier, because like if you have $10,000, I mean, 1%, okay, fine, you'll be paying $500 for the life of the loan, but you know, $10,000, you'll be paying like what, $50 a month or whatever. So that's ridiculous, you know. So, but these are not permanent yet. These are all pending. Unfortunately, with the Memorial, the recess of you know, from Memorial Day and all that stuff, they'll probably be doing this next week, and hopefully, at least the important thing is extended to December 31st, because it will give you more flexibility. If you especially if you're just applying for the PPP loan now. All right. Okay. So, and another thing is use funds to purchase PPEs. this is very important too, because right now, if in order for you to start, you have to buy masks, you have to buy all those face shields, or
Yeah, I've been buying masks, man.
you can use those funds to purchase them. So, and the good thing about it, there's no limit, there's no percentage. So technically, I mean, if you use 100% of the funds to, I mean, that's crazy. You'll be buying $15,000 worth of PPE. That's ridiculous.
Well, you could, because
Technically, you can,
the mask alone is just like I buy like a lot.
Yeah, so you can use that, especially if you have a clinic, you have employees, you have to buy those acrylic barriers. I mean, those cost, if you outfit your reception desk, that'll cost you like $1,000 just to outfit those. So those are considered PPEs. And I hope that they at least approve these things, because it will give way more flexibility, and it prevents people from actually returning that money because they can't use it at this point in time. Especially if you live in New York, I mean, nothing's running. I mean, if you have if you have an outpatient clinic that's running, I mean, God bless you, and I wish you good luck and all that stuff. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you're getting the patients, because there's no way patients will be going at this day and age, So, but if you have patients, then good for you. I mean, God bless you.
So are you not open yet there in
No, our clinic is closed. We there. You know what? It's not for me, and this is my opinion. It's not worth to open. This is just me. I mean,
good for you, yeah. Mm-hmm.
The rate of infection, or the for you to get infected, it's. I'd rather bite the bullet, than getting myself infected. I mean, that's just me. All right. Now, for where can you apply a PPP? So you heard all these horror stories. You went to, like me, I'm Chase. Believe it or not, I didn't get a loan from Chase. So, and I've been with them for so long. Like it's very frustrating. But if you are located in New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania, you could try Republic Bank. That is where I got my PPP loan, and I actually got approved for it. So, and I'm self-employed, independent contractors. That is for me. Again, I don't get paid for this. This is free publicity. But in my experience, this is the best bank for New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania therapists for you to get this loan at the moment. Okay, they're still accepting applications. If you apply with other banks, more than likely they're going to say we're not accepting any more applications, especially the big banks, because literally they are swamped with a lot of applications. Now, The rest of the United States, outside New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania, you can apply for what we call the fintechs. These are the online banks. My recommendation is go for Cabbage, okay? Because I also use their system, Cabbage. It is by far, of all the systems I use, it's the most user-friendly system, because all you have to do is input the stuff, you upload your documents, and you're done. Very straightforward. You could also try PayPal, you could also try Square, but for you to apply, you have to have kind of like a business relationship with them. Let's say, for example, you have an outpatient clinic, and you try to accept credit card payments. And let's say you use Square, that small white square you put on the cell phone, and then you charge it with a debit card, whatever. So if you have that, then they can give you the PPP. So my recommendation, use Cabbage. This is cabbage.com. And again, it's straightforward, very easy to use, and pretty much go from there. Now, when you're applying, compared to before, when everything was starting, people were applying like, I apply at Chase, I apply Bank of America. So they made 6 applications or whatever, right? You're not supposed to do that.
That's what I did.
The bet. You know why? Because what happens is, this is what's going on. Let's say your bank applies to the SBA, and then at the same time, another bank that you applies for the SBA. If the SBA sees multiple applications under one EIN number, employer ID number, or social security number, they will reject that. So my recommendation is choose the best for you. again, in my opinion, I mean, it's free endorsement for Republic Bank. New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania therapists, go to Republic Bank. Their website is www.myrepublicbank.com. You could Google it, they'll take you there. Or even if you're from New York, New Jersey, or Pennsylvania, and the rest of the United States, you could go to Cabbage. Because the reason why I know Cabbage, because this is the first one I actually applied to, all right? But I discontinued my application because Republic Bank was the first one to give me the loan. So, okay, I violated what I said, choose only one or whatever. For me, that's my experience. But for Cabbage, what happened was when I got the Republic Bank application, Republic Bank informed me right away, okay, we got word from the SBA that your loan is being considered. It's not yet approved. It's already in the SBA, and they're reviewing it. But it is very important. They gave me an email that you do not have any other pending applications, because if you do, they will reject it. Okay. So what I did, and this is the good thing about Cabbage, I went to their website and I just canceled the application, withdrew my application, and that made it, worthwhile. But that's how I learned my lesson. Basically, just choose one bank or one fintech. Now, again, based on my experience, how long did I wait? It's not like a month. It actually took me 2.5 weeks, to be honest with you. But with that 2.5 weeks from the day I applied, you have to put everything. So remember the ones I talked about, the requirements. You got to get all of those organized. And by the time you make the application, you upload everything, because that way you will be secured for that spot in the SBA. And then of course, there's still $100 billion left. And with all these applications that are only like 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, that's a whole lot of money, So that's the reason why it's not being depleted, because the loans that are being approved are pretty much in the 10,000 range, which is what is small business is about. It's not like $1 million or whatever. I mean, if you have $1 million payroll, I don't think this is my opinion, not a small business, because you have $100 million payroll, right? So
it's true.
Yep. So again, if you want to see, let me see, if you want to see the requirements, just a minute, just to review. Okay, wait, where is that? Okay, here we go. Again, just for you to review, again, for independent contractors, self-employed therapists, state license or U.S. passport, your Schedule C, 1099 forms, your payment stubs from February to June 2019, and if you have an EIN number, a copy of that IRS letter that they issued. For small businesses, business license or registration, your 941 quarterly tax filings from 2019 and 2020, Q1 meaning January to March, your 944 annual tax filings, your payroll register, your bank statements, and your proof of payments for health insurance premiums, state taxes, and retirement benefits. Okay? Now, let me go through, almost done. Let me show you what the application form looks like so you don't freak out, right?
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
First time you're doing this, okay. So this is what the Paycheck Protection Program Form 2483 looks like. All right, so let me magnify it. All right, so here we go. Very easy. All right, so check one, if you're a sole proprietor, a partnership, C Corp, S Corp, LLC, independent contractor, eligible self-employed individual, whatever it is that you are, just check only one, okay? So if you're applying as an S Corp and using your S Corp tax returns, then use that, If you have, if you're just a sole proprietor, independent contractor, then again, just check one. Now here in this column, it's DBA. That means doing business as. So if you're the name on the check that you're getting paid to is like, let's say for me, Emmanuel Canlas, PT, then that is my DBA. All right. So there's a business legal name. It's the same thing as a DBA, or if you just put in Emmanuel Canlas or whatever, then your business address, your business TIN, EIN, or TIN stands for tax ID number, EIN is employer ID number, or of course SSN, social security number. You just only have to provide one, okay? So if you are an S Corp, more than likely you will have to give your TIN or your EIN. But if you're just a sole proprietor, independent contractor, just go for the SSN. Your business phone number, your primary contact. Primary contact is yourself, okay? And then, of course, your email address. Notice here, average monthly payroll, all right? Remember, you use the Schedule C divided by 12, right? And then multiply 2.5 plus EIDL, net of advance, so you put it here. Number of employees, if you're self-employed or sole proprietor, of course, it's only one. It's yourself, all right? And of course, if you're a small business, then you put the number of employees under your application. Now, the purpose of the loan, there is the payroll, the lease or mortgage interest, utilities, and other. What I checked here is payroll and utilities, all right, on my end. But again, if you have if you have an office that you're leasing or you own it and you're paying mortgage, by all means, put the lease, right? Now, applicant ownership, okay, list all owners of 20% or more of the equity of the applicant. If you're a sole proprietor, of course, you're 100%. You know, you're the only one who, you're the employee at the same time you own it, right? So just put there 100%. And then let's say if you have a partnership, or let's say you're an S Corp with 2 officers, then you have to put both names on it. Now, these are the questions, okay? Is the applicant or owner of the applicant presently suspended, debarred, proposed for debarment, declared ineligible? So basically, if you are, let's say, someone filed a malpractice case, you don't have a license, or let's say the feds charge you with medical fraud, the frauding Medicare or whatever. If you have that, then unfortunately you can't, you won't be able to get the loan, So of course the answer here would be no. Has the applicant or any of the applicants or business owners controlled by any of them ever obtained a direct guaranteed loan from the SBA and has been delinquent or defaulted in the last 7 years and caused a loss to the government? If you said yes here, again, you would not get the loan. Is the applicant or owner of the applicant or business have a common management with or any other business? If yes, list all the businesses. Okay, so the problem with this is, let's say, for example, you own another business and then you try to apply the PPP loan from one business to the other. They want to know that. It doesn't mean that you get disqualified, but they want to make sure that you inform them that you had other businesses that you're applying for PPPs for. Because some people did this, and they're trying to game the system, so they just want to, the SBA wants to know if you have those, all right, if you have those other businesses. Number 4, has the applicant received an SBA economic injury disaster loan? This is again from January 31st to April 3. These were the people. I mean, Mike applied, he got his EIDL. I applied as well, I got my EIDL, but those were converted to grants, so EIDG. So if you got it, you put yes. The reason for that is if you put yes here, your total here, they will automatically, because you computed your monthly payroll, right? They will automatically, even if you added the $1,000 here, they will automatically deduct that because you declared here that you got the EIDL between January 31st to April 3. All right. So now here you just pretty much answer all these questions again. Is the applicant owning 20% equity of the applicant has been indicted? Again, if you have a criminal record or whatever, unfortunately you won't be able to do this and get the application. If you've been convicted of any felony, unfortunately you can't get this. Is the United States the principal place of residence? Of course, yes. If not, then you won't get it. And is the applicant a franchise that is listed in the SBA's franchise directory? Again, if you're self-employed or or an independent contractor, more than likely you don't have a franchise because it's just you. And of course, just put no. All right, second page. Get to know, I mean, these are very easy to download. Just Google PPP loan application. You will get all these things. I mean, I don't have to read everything, but you are pretty much just certifying. And these are very important because if you are not in compliance with these certifications, that in itself will make you ineligible and you have to return the loan. If you don't return it, then the SBA can charge you. All right. So the certification here, very important. The applicant was in operation on February 15, 2020. Okay. That's the reason why I told you, if you didn't have a business in 2019, but if you started a business on January 1st and you were in operation before February 15, the SBA can use your gross income from January to February 15, 2020 as basis of that PPP loan. So this is the reason that it's important. But after February 15, if you didn't have a business, unfortunately, you will not qualify, okay? And then current economic uncertainty makes this loan necessary to support the ongoing operations of the applicant. Of course, if you're not working, that's pretty much it. The funds will be used to retain workers and maintain payroll or make mortgages. So this is pretty much what the rules are. The worker is you if you're self-employed. So you don't, there's nothing to prove because you're giving the money to yourself, right? If you're a small business, you're giving the money to your employees. If you apply for loan forgiveness, you would have to provide the full-time equivalent employees. So what does this mean? The FTEs. So if you have 5 employees, you just have to prove that the PPP loans that you got, you pretty much paid for these people. All right. Now, let's say, for example, the employee doesn't want to come back or whatever. There is a kind of like a way to get around that. All you have to do is just make sure that you provide a written documentation that your employee does not want to go back to work or doesn't want to. So it will get your FTEs down, but it still will be counted. So basically, I'm just getting a little bit technical here because this is how you compute for your loan forgiveness. I'm not going to go into that detail because it's just going to make things much worse. The important thing is for you to apply for the PPP and get the PPP loan first. And then probably in the next few weeks, I'll probably do another webinar for the loan forgiveness application because that is another thing to go through. It requires strategy, it requires a lot of use and everything. But that's pretty much it, So you're certifying and everything, all these things. And that is how you apply for the PPP loan. That's pretty much it.
Wow. Oh, wow. So
it's a lot of things, but the reason why I'm kind of like, I'm kind of like doing this, is pretty much to help you guys, as far as the way things are. Because again, whatever funds you get, cash flow, it improves your cash flow when it comes to the PPP. And the more money you have, pretty much the more you could survive this. Because if you've run out of funds and you have a business and you don't have to, you don't have anything, then unfortunately you're done, and
yep, cash is king.
Cash is king. Yeah. All right. So if there are any questions, let me know. And
let me check the Facebook thing. Well, again, if you are watching live, ladies and gentlemen, please comment live. If you're watching on the replay, please comment replay. If you think Emmanuel is doing a good job, let me check. Well, Yolanda said, thank you very much. She'll use, okay, I can use the draft. And Miranda said, thank you. So.
All right, no problem.
All right. Well, any last parting wisdom for us, Emmanuel, before you stop?
Well, the thing is, again, the way it is when you're applying for anything, as far as that is concerned, pretty much, just be patient, don't give up. because eventually they will get back to you. Now I do have, wait, there's a message from Lynn.
Oh, okay.
It is difficult to get technical support from Cabbage if you have any questions for them. To be honest with you, I didn't get any, I really didn't have any problems using Cabbage. It was very straightforward. You uploaded all the stuff, and they usually get back to you if you, of course, supply everything, you know. But if you have an incomplete application, more than likely they won't respond to you because it's not complete. You know, that's the only thing that I could think of. But otherwise, again, so don't give up. You know, again, cash is king. Apply to whatever programs can benefit you to improve your cash flow. Then by all means, apply for it. And then once you have the funds, just make sure that you use it wisely and you know, to survive this thing. So we're all in this together, and hopefully everything's good.
We're all in this together. All right. Well, again, thank you very much, Eman. Appreciate you for doing this again for us. This is going to be in our Alternative Careers group, and it's also going to be uploaded in our podcast and in our website, alternativecareershealthcare.com or whatever you call that. And then, well, there's another question here from Michelle. Where is the PPP loan application found? I guess
that's in the that's www.sba.gov.
SBA.gov.
Gov. Yeah.
So, I mean, just for others, I did mine through PayPal, so I got it there. But so, do we go to Cabbage and then we upload that application, or is there an application through Cabbage?
No, Cabbage has its own platform. And you pretty much apply through their system. Remember, I showed you the 2 pages of SBA. You won't go through that. They have their own system that you just up, you know, just like you know, like a regular fintech. You know, I mean, you know, you put in your info, you put in your monthly income, whatever that is, and then they will make all the computations for you. As long as you upload everything, you should be good.
Well, I have a personal question because I got denied. So,
did they give you a reason why you were denied?
They said my credit is slow, and I have a previous application from them.
Okay,
a previous loan.
That is not true. For if they told you that your credit is low, the SBA doesn't give. Really, the loan has no basis. They don't base it on collateral. They do check your credit. That is the important thing. But even if you're,
or maybe because I got my loans all through that bank,
even if that credit is low, if you did not have like the only reason that I'm thinking that you got denied is because you had multiple applications. They probably put like in, like,
I guess, yeah, like, but
or whatever. But it's really the application. The only.
How about now that you know I got that denial or that I'm not allowed? Can I reapply again?
Of course you can apply, but the situation is you have got to remember all those banks or fintechs that you applied for. Okay, then what you do is you go one by one and tell them that you withdraw your application, each and every one, withdraw it, and then start off with Cabbage and pretty much go through.
Well, even though they told me it's not rejected.
No, you just don't. If you got rejected, you apply again. There's no reason for you not to. They're not discouraging you to, you know. Of course, they'll be asking, have you been denied before or whatever? Then just tell them that because I had multiple applications and then my credit score is low. But again, the credit score is not just the basis of getting the loan. All right, it has to do more with, again, if you had more applications, that's the first thing that they deny.
Multiple applications.
Multiple applications, forget it. That's why it's very important you choose only one. Now, the second one that I think will be a big reason for you to be denied is, let's say they do a credit check, right? If you had a history of missed payments, if you declare bankruptcy, if you were, unfortunately, too, if you applied for mortgage forbearance, or if you applied for forbearance for a car loan or whatever, if the SBA sees that, they will deny you.
I'm pretty good, so
Just a low score, even a 500 score, they have no reason why you shouldn't be approved. I think, to be honest with you, you were denied because of those multiple applications.
Multiple applications.
Those applications were hitting the SBA. If they see multiple applications, they deny it automatically. That one I could tell you right now, because I've been, seeing that from a lot of people, who applied before.
All right. Well, how about if you just lend me your money, man? I mean, come on now. You're super rich there in New York.
Again, you have to maintain your cash flow. That's the important thing. And I can't.
Yeah.
If you're not my employee.
Come on now. You can make me a 1099 there.
Oh, come on.
Oh, well. Well, again, thank you very much, Emma, and I appreciate you, brother. Michelle said thank you very much. And then for those people who are watching, again, thank you very much for watching on the live and also on the replay. I really appreciate you. Again, thank you very much, Emma. Any last parting wisdom for us? Any special encouragement? So you're a very
just don't give up. And again, if you can help, one way or another, just help. It depends on you. Don't give up. Don't lose hope, because we'll get through this, as they say, right? And
Amen.
Probably your present situation is a little bit difficult, but I am telling you, there are other people. Not that I'm negating your present difficulty, but there are most probably other people who are in a pretty much on a far worse situation than what you have. So just take it day by day, and we'll get through this.
That's so true. That is so true. Well, before I let you go, ladies and gentlemen, always remember the word FAST, F-A-S-T, because we want to take action fast. Speed wins. Speed wins. So same thing with the application of unemployment benefits, the PPP. The earlier you apply, the better. So FAST, letter F. Find friends that will push you to your next level, because you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with. So who are you hang out with? Are you hanging out with awesome people? Or you hang out with people like Emmanuel, who are actually really awesome and going to help you out how to be the best that you can be. Find those people that will actually push you to your next level. All right. Next letter is letter A. You got to learn how to take action. All this stuff that we're doing, it's not going to do me good. It's not going to do Eman good if you're not going to take action on it. Imperfect action beats perfect in action. You got to take action, guys. Go to Cabbage, go to Republic Bank. Shout out to Republic Bank. Give us some sponsorship here.
I know, right?
PayPal, come on now. So
I know.
What else? This the other one, Square. Oh gosh, give us some sponsorship here. So anyway, take action, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't have to be perfect. One step at a time, one goal at a time. Next letter is letter S. You got to learn how to shoot for the moon, because if you keep shooting for the moon, guess what? You're going to miss it. You're going to be eventually landing with the stars. Right now, I'm landing with a star with Eman. He's a star to my eyes. I mean, look at that. He's going to send me his PPP loan. Probably 20K, 20,935 on that. So
I wish, right?
Yeah, got that number, like 20,000, right? Give me that. So shoot for the moon. If you miss it, you're going to be landing with the stars. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, letter T. Letter T. Not time out, but teach it. Why? Because when you hear it, you forget. When you see it, you remember. But when you're actually teaching it, you're going to understand it more. Guess what? Emmanuel is teaching us how to apply for a PPP, how to apply for unemployment. I look at him as the expert in this field now. And same thing with me. I'm teaching Alzheimer's and dementia, how to be a dementia expert. Guess what? People think I'm an expert with dementia, but I don't know anything about dementia, right? So speaking of teaching, I'll be teaching that Alzheimer's and disease and dementia care seminar tomorrow. Oh, no, tomorrow. Over the weekend. Oh, gosh, I'm so tired now. Over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, how to be a certified dementia practitioner, because we just want to be awesome. So again, thank you very much, Eman. Appreciate you. Any last parting word for us, or you're good to go?
I'm good to go. Good luck, everyone.
All right. Thank you very much, Eman. Appreciate you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to go ahead and close this out.
Okay, Mike. Take care.
Thank you.
Yeah, take care.
I hope you enjoyed the show. Check out our website at drmikechua.com or alternativehealthcarecareers.com for more information. Again, ACG, be awesome, be great, be excellent. Thank you, and hope to see you on our next episode. Goodbye.